Good evening, I'm Greg Sharpe. Our sports ticker brought to you by the 1890 Initiative. Some solid matchups tonight at Big Ten hoops. On the men's side, Iowa leads early at Michigan State 2-0. Later tonight, number 1 Purdue will visit Michigan. On the women's side, a couple of ranked matchups in the league tonight. Right now, it's 10th ranked Maryland leading 13th ranked Michigan 31-22. Here in about 10 minutes, it'll be Penn State at Rutgers. 22nd ranked Illinois hosting Purdue at 7 o'clock. 7:30, number 2, Ohio State at number 6, Indiana. It's conference championship weekend in the NFL. Cincinnati will visit Kansas City in the AFC, and San Francisco travels to Philadelphia. One of the open head coaching positions in the National Football League was filled today as Carolina has hired former Indianapolis Colts coach Frank Reich. Many had speculated the Panthers would keep interim head coach Steve Wilks. The 1890 Initiative helping Husker student athletes navigate name, image, and likeness. To learn more or donate, visit 1890nebraska.com. Now get ready for another night of Sports Nightly here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Meyer, another three. This one's not good. The rebound and a great block out by Griesel. Vanderbilt's got the ball. 4-0 run to start the second half. Wilcher drives the basketball, splits a double. Oh! What a play! Wilcher, what a fantabulous play! There's our play of the game.
Wow, what a finish by C.J. Wilcher. And the first time tonight, the crowd is on their feet. A little 6-0 run to start the second half.
Kaiser, left low block, guarded by Stewart. Knock away and a steal for Kimball Moriarty. Here come the Huskers with 1:06 to go in the second quarter.
There it is.
Trailing by 11. 3-ball, Lonnie Stewart all alone. You betcha! Off the steal and assist from Kimball Moriarty. Timeout, Kim Barnes. Here we go.
And here come the Husker crowd.
To Jazz Shelley.
Throw it back.
Jazz has a double team. Throws it deep left side. Callan Hake for 3. You betcha!
Griesel bring it across the timeline. How about a couple of quick baskets here? Down 10, deep left corner, Jamarcus Lawrence 3. Got it! Nothing but net. Swishola, a CBA 3 for Jamarcus Lawrence.
Hot top, Hybe has it. Huskers looking for a road win over a top 5 team. Hybe driving and scoring down the left lane line. That was classic Sam Hybe.
Yeah, good pace by Sammy. Nebraska answers.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Thank you. Welcome to another night of Sports Nightly. Just an hour of Jessica and I, and then we'll have our women's basketball show for you coming up in hour number 2. Amy Williams will be here. Huskers have had 4 or 5 days off. They last played on Sunday. They will play at Iowa, a noon tip on Saturday for their next game. We did not have a program last night. The men played against Northwestern, and kind of the first game, Jessica, with life without Juwan and Emmanuel, both being now gone, done for the year with the injuries. And unfortunately, I think that team, which had kind of built an identity of being really good on the defensive end, that may be part of their problem, I think, here in the last month.
Well, and then you lose arguably your 2 best defenders, and so that doesn't help matters. But, I mean, Northwestern could not miss, but I don't know if we were making it challenging enough on them, if the guys were. But I think it's going to be tough to get adjusted without those 2 guys. It's one thing to lose one, and I was having this conversation last night with somebody that was asking me about it. And any team in America loses 2 starters. I mean, it's tough to overcome that. And then you're talking about 2 guys that really set the tone, that are physical in this league, and the physicality of Juwan and the way that Emmanuel can just shut guys down. That's just 2 devastating losses that, I mean, any team in America would have a hard time overcoming, losing guys like that.
Went back today. They had their core guys for only 10 games. And I'm talking about Derek Sam,
right,
Emmanuel Juwan. Huskers went 7-3. In those 10 games. Remember, they had the first 5 they didn't have Derek.
Yep.
Then they get Derek back, and then they had the 10-game run until Emmanuel got hurt against Illinois.
Well, and they didn't have Sam. Did you count those 2, the ones without Sam?
Yep, because Sam missed the Purdue game and the Indiana game, and so the core group, only 10 games all year, so a third of their schedule, and they went 7-3. Well, now They're not going to have him the rest of the year.
And you know what's crazy? We got a text about this the other night when Ernie was on, Ernie Ziegler for the men's basketball show, asking about the scheduling and should it maybe be a little bit lighter in the coming years. And I think that's a tough schedule for anybody. But and I think him and Adam Howard both had talked about, maybe that is something, because you look at someone like Creighton. Well, that's somebody that you're going to play every year, but then you play in the Gavitt games.
Right.
Creighton could have been a part of the Gavitt games, right? And so I think if you find a way to tweak it a little bit where you get a couple more home games, but because I think a couple of those games they win with Derek.
I agree.
That they lost on the early goings. And so, it's just.
I'd love to play Oklahoma again at full strength.
Yes.
And having Derek.
Yes,
Didn't
I agree.
Have him, that was a big difference.
Oklahoma wouldn't have had anybody that could have matched up with Derek.
I don't think so.
So
yeah.
I think there are some teams that had Derek been in the lineup, that outcome maybe looks a little bit different. I think probably they went at St. John's with Derek.
Maybe, because they remember they were ahead at half.
Yeah.
And then just couldn't find a flow. One guy that I was really proud with last night was Sam Hoiberg.
Yeah.
They were plus 11 with him on the floor. He had 6.6. He led the team in rebounding with 6. Little bitty Sam Hoiberg had 6 rebounds.
But you know what? He's just going to do all the right things, and he's a coach's kid, so he understands. He knows what's needed. I all the time am told how great he is at leading the scout team, and when he's kind of helping run that, and he just understands so well, but he plays hard and, going to take advantage of his opportunities. And, K-State came out and looked good there to get going, too.
He sure did. 12 straight.
What
a start.
You thought for a second, oh, okay, they're going to fight, but they just totally ran out of manpower, I think, and just got out-horsed a little bit, because it's just going to be – it's hard enough to adjust. You go one game – you didn't even get a full game to adjust without Juwan.
Right.
You don't even get a half a game. And then now you're all of a sudden – don't have a single game, and now you're having to just adjust without those two guys. And then you had already moved CJ to the bench, and you're already tweaking with your lineup already. So that was a tough go at it. But, again, you still have a lot of faith and belief in Derek Walker and Sam Griesel, and maybe they can find a way. They're going to keep fighting. You don't for a second doubt that they're going to, throw in the towel and quit. But, I just it's going to be really tough without those two guys on the floor.
It doesn't get any easier. They're off to Maryland Saturday, and then at Illinois Tuesday, 2 really tough road venues to go play. So it's going to be a tough stretch, but that game last night bumped us off the air, so we're back after the men played last night. First Interstate Bank, built for you. Learn more at www.firstinterstatebank.com, member FDIC. The hallways of Memorial Stadium are pumping again. They got the music cranked up, the party's going on out in the concourse. A couple of more official visits this weekend. We are now 6 days away from the second signing period, which Nebraska is going to announce a handful of additions to the roster, and they've got a few more official visits here this weekend. This is the last weekend they can have official visits, I think, until, I think later on in the spring they can do that again, but the period will close up after this weekend. And so the coaches who have been out, a lot of them on social media today, out and about again around the country, will make their way back to Lincoln for the weekend, and then they can't go travel for a while.
Listen, I've noticed that a few more people have gotten the emoji language.
Do you have it?
I have not.
Me neither.
I've got to keep digging into that, because I've seen more and more people hopping in on they're communicating with emojis. A lot of the people on the staff are. So apparently it's trickling out, the languages, the emoji language. We got to get in on that. I'll try my best. I'm going to start digging around.
Is there like a graph or something you can go study to go, okay, that's what that emoji means? That's what this one means.
I would probably, or else, yeah. They talk about it in staff meetings and they draw it on the board.
Matt Rule will put like 10 of them. And you're like, okay, well, that one, there's a plane. It means he's flying somewhere. There's,
to sunshine or sunshine. Oh, there's a mountain. He's going to the mountains. He's going to the beach. He's going to California or Florida.
Right. With the beach. That's one of those two spots is where he's off to. I saw a funny thread today. Ed Foley, who's the special teams coach, he's a character, folks. You're all going to love Ed the more you get to know him. And he's been the one going around the state.
Yes.
All the state guys. And every time he's hitting one of these little pubs and cafes and putting on what he's eating. Well, I saw a funny thread today. They're worried about Ed's cholesterol.
Oh.
Ed, you better watch that cholesterol. You're like eating pork loin sandwiches and everything going on.
I bet he's with Corey Campbell down there he's working it off. That's what my mom and I always say. You work out so you can eat more, right? So I bet he's putting in a workout to be able to consume those calories. But I had a tweet today, which is funny because I had talked to one of the guys on staff about a couple of things that maybe we could do interview-wise. And when we were talking to some of the recruits that were on campus last week, and one of the suggestions I brought up, I said, we got to do something with Coach Foley and his food and his stops and kind of, something like a Food Network type show with Coach Foley. And then I got a tweet about it today. A fan tweeted at me, hey, we got to get a Foley's Foodies segment going on Sports Nightly.
There you go.
So that needs to be something that we get in the works where we're like, getting Coach Foley on to try. There's this TikToker, Andrew, you probably know. I think his name is Kevin. Keith. He tries restaurants, kind of struggling restaurants in Vegas, and everywhere that he eats and he puts it on his TikTok, it blows up. And then that business is just, there's a line out the door. And so I think we should start doing that with Coach Foley, where he 1 to 10 scale, tries multiple things on the menu and lets us know what he thinks.
Good idea. I think he'd be up for that.
I think he would do. I really do.
Yeah. All right. So last weekend of this, signing day next Wednesday. There'll be press conference that day with Coach Rural, so we'll be able to hear from him again. He has not done a press conference since the one he had in December. That was 6 weeks ago, so he'll have that.
And has had a couple of additions to the staff.
He has.
So lots to talk about. Now,
he sat down with the bus and with the boys, but he has not sat down with the media for that point in time.
By the way, Crypto King brings up a good point. The caller brought up quite a buzz from the other day, Alan, and he was here on campus today.
I saw Trev Alberts tweet out a little picture that he got to meet.
Yeah, so he had reached out, he quote tweeted, said, I want to meet Alan, and then Lindsey Chamberlain said that Lindsey Chamberlain is Trev's assistant. She's up there and does a great job with the administration staff, and said that his kids had reached out and told him he went viral, and so they made it happen, and so he was on campus today.
Cool. Great. Hopefully maybe we can get him on the show.
Yes.
It'll be fun to talk to him again.
Absolutely.
Folks, buckle up, put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. All right, here's what we have in our hour. Ahman Green, one of the great running backs in Husker history. He is really into esports. If you're not sure what esports is, we'll tell you more about that. It's what the kids, it's gaming. It's gaming stuff. It's guys
you would
that play
know,
games.
I'm sure.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't play much gaming sports, but...
Listen, I am the champion at Mario Kart.
Are you?
Oh,
I was
yeah.
pretty good at one point in time on Mario Kart.
You couldn't hang with me. I'm just putting that out there.
The gauntlet's been thrown down.
Baker Mayfield couldn't beat me,
Man, okay.
Anybody that's challenged me, I'm like basically undefeated in my entire lifetime.
Well, Ahman's into it, and he's now working for the university, trying to help kind of develop more of that. You go anywhere on campus, to a dorm, a fraternity, you're going to see kids gaming, and Ahman is into all of that. We're going to talk more about that with Ahman coming up here in a little bit. Husker women's tennis starts their season tomorrow. Western Michigan will be at the Dillon Tennis Center for a 4 o'clock match. Going to hear from longtime Husker women's tennis coach Scott Jacobson later on in the hour as well. And our phone lines, text lines, always open and available for you. It's our Sports Nightly hotline, brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com anytime. 18 brands and a huge selection of pre-owned. You can always find what you are looking for with Woodhouse. Back with a chat with Ahman Green coming up next.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Get ready again for some Nebraska farm facts. When there's work to be done, Nebraska soybeans are on the job in many of your everyday products. In fact, Nebraska soybeans are hard at work in Goodyear tires, Ford cars and trucks, Skechers shoes, asphalt, fuels, lubricants, name brand paints and stains, and more. Soybeans are an innovative replacement for petroleum, leading to more sustainable products all over the world. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. So we designed the Ford trucks of the future for everyone. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 45 years straight. Made for performance and capability on and off-road. Because the trucks of the future aren't designed for a few. They're built for America. Ford F-Series. Drive one today. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska exists to be there with you. They are rooting for the schools and teachers who make our communities great. That's why Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is proud to sponsor Touchdowns for Teachers and ask Husker fans to nominate outstanding educators who help Nebraska students reach their potential. If there's a teacher you want to recognize for the impact they've made in your community, find a nomination form at huskers.com/touchdowns-for-teachers.
Here's Griesel to the right corner with it against Sensabaugh. Flips it between the circles to Wilcher. Touch pass. Denham Dawson jump stop. Puts it up. Reverse layup. Good.
Hey Husker fans, join us Saturday for a Nebraska basketball doubleheader. The women's team takes on the Hawkeyes with coverage beginning at 11:45 a.m., while the men's team matches up with the Terrapins, coverage beginning at 2:30 p.m. on the HRN. Tune in to your local affiliates or at huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Agriculture is the economic engine of the Midwest. At Acres Equipment, we dedicate ourselves to making that engine run smoothly. We supply our farmers and ranchers with quality John Deere equipment, parts, and service. We also deliver the most advanced technology and precision ag strategies to help them farm today and for the future. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Bank of the West is offering the first checking account designed for climate action. It gives back 1% of the account's net revenue to the planet at no cost to you. Shows you the estimated carbon impact of debit card purchases. And there's no minimum balance required. Learn more at bankofthewest.com/1%. Additional conditions apply. Member FDIC.
At CHI Health Clinic, we believe healthcare should be personal because knowing your provider personally makes appointments more comfortable, more productive, and more meaningful to your overall health. Get matched with a primary care provider based on your personality and lifestyle using CHI Health Clinic's My Provider Match. Take the survey at myprovidermatch.com to find the right provider for you. Getting healthier starts by getting personal at CHI Health Clinic.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Every day, Central Valley Ag works with our farmers to feed a hungry planet. CVA's Elite Acre gives growers assurance of profits and margins in volatile global markets. Manage your risk. Lock in your ROI through CVA's Elite Acre program. Learn more and register to win 500 gallons of CVA's Ruby Diesel when you go online to cvacoop.com. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and I have some exciting news to share. At Wahlburgers, we are all about bringing the family together to enjoy a great meal and have a great time. That's why right now, for a limited time, kids eat free every day at all Hy-Vee Wahlburger locations. Kids 12 and under can enjoy one free kids meal with any purchase of an adult burger, sandwich, or entree salad.
Bring the family to Wahlburgers and the Wahlburgers and Hy-Vee stores, where right now kids can eat free.
We're back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you. It's a Thursday night here on the Huskers Radio Network. Top of the hour, it'll be our women's basketball show. Amy Williams will be here for an entire hour to take your comments, calls, questions about women's hoops. You recently had a chance to sit down with one of the all-time great running backs in Cornhusker history, Omaha Central's own Ahman Green.
Yes, he's back on campus, and so we had a fun chat. He was in here in studio. It was funny because he asked me where we were, and I said Gate 18, and he didn't know where Gate 18 was because he's like, I never, as a player, didn't walk over here. Right. So he found us, and so yeah, got a chance to sit down with Ahman Green to talk about his new role here on campus. Let's start there. I mean, what brought you back to Lincoln? I mean, a new role and a new opportunity here, right?
Yeah, 100%. So I'm a lecturer. Come spring break, after spring break, my class starts. It's going to be a short 8-week course, and it's going to be Intro to Esports. So I'll be breaking down basically the team side of it, team development, player development, coach development, how players need to develop in terms of communication between each other, because a lot of the games that we play going to compete in, and that the club teams are already competing in, they're multiplayer games. There are three players on the team, 5, 6, 4 players on the team, and so you got to have that clear communication. And then teaching what I call digital citizenship, which is sportsmanship. Know how to treat a teammate the proper way, how to talk to them, how to talk and approach an opponent. Somebody that you just beat or you just lost to, because in the gaming world, I'm gonna say normal, but in some instances there's gamers that going to beat somebody and they rub it in and trash talk them, and that's not good.
You're not a fan of that.
No, I'm not a fan of that. I was raised in a household. My 2 brothers play football. My stepdad played football, and it was no trash talking, because if you trash talk, you're eventually going to get blew up too. You're going to get hit real hard if you're going to try to show somebody up.
Act like you've been there before, right?
Exactly. Act like you've been there before. So I'm preaching the same thing in my classroom. I preach the same thing with my players where I was at Lakeland University prior. So that was one of my big rules before I found out how good you were at Rocket League or how good you were at Valorant. I want to know what type of person you are. Are you that player that's going to, you get beat and you're going to shake the player's hand saying, good game, you got me, and then walk away. Not good game, you suck, and blah, blah, blah. None of that. It's like, all right, or we won, and say, hey, man, good game. Y'all played this tough, and catch you next time. Just something like that, because you got to have that respect. And gaming obviously has little, let's say, some things about it that people look at it kind of frowned upon. The trash talking, the obviously typical. I remember back, when I was younger, that it was the typical kid in the basement. He or she is eating, bad food, and they got a Mountain Dew or Coca-Cola, and they got soda around them, and it's, they mad at their mom for whatever, they're spouting up and being disrespectful, and it's like, really, it's not that picture, no more. There's gamers that are obviously in school on campus right now that are very highly competitive. They practice together. Like the team, what I love about the program, what I found out, Jade, I don't have her last name, but her first name, Jade, is the president, and she and her, friends and local classmates, the game managers, game advisors, they've been running this program efficiently for 3 years. And so my job, how I look at it, just kind of come and help it out and upgrade it a little bit. But I don't want to change nothing about it other than, get more funding, get more attention, more eyes on what the student body has already done. They built out about 6 or 7 teams, and six or 7 teams, and per team for each game, it's like 3 teams per game. So you got a lot of kids that are dedicated. They're playing from their dorm rooms, they're playing from their apartments. So my job is to say, hey, no, you could come to, the union, or we could come to our own a place to now practice and play. You don't have to play from Able or Harper. You could just come right to wherever we're going to be. And I say we're going to start over in the student union. But yeah, that's how it starts. We got to give the kids a little bit more motivation. Be like, oh man, now we have a space. And then the next step from that is having our own dedicated, bigger area, having a film viewing room where we could break down film, maybe, get a locker room, have a little cafeteria area for our, that is dedicated. Because once the players, and this goes for all sports, once an athlete or student athlete knows we have our own area on campus, they feel, that's their second home. They know that, okay, when we wake up after class is done, then I could go over to Esports facility and dig into practice and, whatever. If I'm having a bad day, I could go there and feel a little better because this is our dedicated space.
So, obviously, I know you've talked a lot about how much you love Lincoln and your time here. So how much was that part of it too, is getting back to this community and being able to have an opportunity here in Lincoln?
Yeah, I say 100% the part of it, because I've been knocking on the door to be a part of the football program for a long time, and the timing didn't work out, and that was fine with me. Well, the way I'm built is a door shut, just like you heard before. One door shut and another door is open. I just kept grinding in other passions, and the passion was just playing video games, going to all the Comic-Cons or the E3s, the PAX East and West, and the Dream Hacks, and then making contacts. And so building out my portfolio of things where I started to shoutcast gaming events, tournaments for Gears of War, for Halo, for Super Smash Brothers, Rocket League, and making those contacts, those companies like Epic Games and EA Sports, Microsoft, and letting them know, on top of what they see, because when they see me, they know, oh, you're the guy who used to play for the Packers, running back, played at Nebraska, but you're into gaming too? Like, really? I'm like, yeah. I mean, this is something I love to do. I mean, it's my thing. Like, a lot of my teammates, I say this all the time, a lot of my teammates now and then, they go golfing or they go hunting. I say, yeah, I go hunt with a joystick and a monitor in Halo or Call of Duty. So I play games. So that was my hobby to do, and I turned that hobby and another passion of mine into something more, more tangible and something I could grab and touch and help students grow in this. In this program at the school, and to make us part of. The whole goal is to make us part of the athletic department, so we can bring that same excitement, to another area of competition, which is esports.
People might ask, how do you coach esports? That's what you're going to be doing with the Nebraska Esports
Correct.
program. How do you coach that?
It's just like you would coach any other coaches that coach here in any other athletic programs: football, baseball, basketball, volleyball, tennis, golf. You got your warm-up part of practice, or you have your film review, you have your game planning. And it's the same idea. So taking a game like Valorant, for example, or even League of Legends, being like I said, multiplayer game, it's 5 players on each team. So that means you have, for Nebraska here, we have 2 teams of league teams, league players. So that means we have 20 or almost 15 players to make up 2 teams or 3 teams. And so now those players will, we'll sit down and we'll talk about game planning. We'll break down some film of our previous game. And I'm pretty sure the students already do that because they're doing really good. They're winning games in league, they're winning games in Valorant, they're winning games in Rocket League. So you do just that. You break that film, because that's how you get better. You look at your strengths, you look at your mistakes, break it down, take notes, and you got to be open to that constructive criticism to get better. And I would say these players here, I believe they have that because they've been functioning on their own, even though, it's not, a lot of people know about it, but that's part of my job, to let people, that's why we're talking right now, to let people know about the program. And that's basically what our day, eventually, once we get to that point where this is the varsity team, because we're going to still have the club part of it, because the club part of it is going to help develop players that want to get to the varsity level. That was like when I got here my freshman year, there was still a freshman locker room and the varsity locker room. Freshman locker room was in North Stadium, varsity locker room was in South Stadium. You had to prove yourself by learning the plays, playing hard, not making a whole lot of mistakes, and then the coaches would tell you, oh yeah, you made it to the varsity locker room. And so that's kind of the same mindset here. And I think a lot of teams do that across the country, not just here, but even the pro organizations of esports teams around the world, that's what they do. They have a club team attached to the pro side, because then you can always develop players and have a pool of players that you could pull from if you find a player that's that diamond in the rough that can then be on your roster.
So how awesome is it for you that you get to combine 2 passions of Nebraska and esports?
It's awesome. I mean, I've been smiling all week ever since I got here. I actually got here a couple weeks ago, and I'm just smiling. Like, man, I get to, do something that, for one, I'm probably the only former pro athlete doing. But I'm not the only person doing this. I met coaches at Midland. I met coaches at Bellevue University right up in Omaha, Nebraska Westland. I met those coaches at other tournaments, at other events, so I could communicate with them. I've been communicating with them already. So now that they know I'm here, we can then might do more in-person events. We were just talking before this podcast started how we could play against each other, Kearney and UNO, and so we could plan those out. And we go to Kearney or they come here, and vice versa, to have that kind of in-state rivalry, but in-state, I say, competition to help us get better, at the games we play.
So, and we were talking too that maybe we can make this a series. Hopefully, that's the goal, where we can talk Nebraska Esports and Husker football moving forward. And because I would imagine too, I didn't know much about it, and you were kind of educating me on how it all works. How about fans would love to know more about it too? So I think something maybe we could get in the works. But I did have to ask you about what's been your perspective of the excitement around just this football program, and since Matt Rule and his staff have taken over. Man,
it's a lot of excitement. I mean, new coaching staff coming in always brings excitement, but like from a player point of view, and I could speak on even the players here, even though it's an age difference, but there's one thing about, I know it's a few players is like, man, we're starting from scratch, if they're seniors or juniors. But then also it's like, okay, now me as a player, I put myself in their shoes. I'm like, also, okay, yeah, we starting from scratch. That's going to be an uphill battle, because now we got to learn. I'm an offensive player, so I got to learn a whole new playbook, a whole new verbiage. I basically got to go from speaking Spanish to Russian, maybe. Defensive player, same obstacles, but we want to get better, right? That's what I always ask myself. I want to get better, right? And the answer is yes. Basically, hell yes. I want to get better, and I want to start winning. And we're in a conference in the Big Ten, as we know. It's a conference that there's a lot of, posturing and debating on who's the best. And I have teammates in the NFL that I played with that were Big Ten players, and I told them all the time. I said, look, if we would have walked in the Big Ten in 1995, it'd probably not be a Big Ten right now, or y'all would not be happy with us. Just letting you know. But the players here today, they have a chance to bring it back to that standing, to change things around here and do it themselves. So then people that play in the Big Ten, other teams and coaches and media, they're not going to, downplay Nebraska going to Michigan, downplay Nebraska going to Ohio State, kind of giving Ohio State, giving the Wolverines the victory already, because we're still trying to develop our program. And so I believe Matt Rule and his team, seeing what they've done, or seeing what he's done, because I know some of the coaches have been with him, not all his stops, and some have. Some been with him at Baylor, some been with him at Temple and Carolina. And so, but on level, he knows them enough to say, hey, come here, help me build out his program. And I say that's something that's good to know, because what you saw, what he did with Baylor, for me, that says a lot. Because as a coach, you got to know how to get players to play, not only for themselves and for the player next to them, but actually for you as a coach. Because this is the college level, and the kids are still growing as people, as young adults. So they've got a lot going on other than football. They're just moving away from home for maybe the first time, or they're dealing with classes, they're dealing with maybe getting a job or what have you. So you got a lot going on for a young adult. So you got to find that focus as a coach. You're like, all right, let me get your attention for a second. Trust me, I give you everything I got. You give me everything you got. We can make this thing work. And so that's what I remember back in the day with Coach Osborne. He gave us those opportunities. He basically said, if you work hard for it, you'll get what you deserve. And that's kind of how my career went. I worked hard, pushed hard, learning the playbook, and playing hard as a player, not worrying about if I'm the starter or not, just worrying about when I get my opportunity, when would that be, that I better make sure I play hard to show the coaches and my teammates that I could do this.
Really appreciate Ahman Green stopping by the studio. That was just a portion of the conversation. You can hear the full conversation out now on our podcast platforms, also on our YouTube channel. I did ask him the two questions you asked me to ask him about the Super Bowl. He said the Niners, because he's a Niners fan, so that's a heart pick. So he said the 49ers and the Chiefs. And then is Aaron Rodgers going to retire? He just went back. He said when everybody asks me this every single year, I always go back to whatever he said in his last press conference. So
Ahman's interesting because he when he first went to the Packers, Brett Favre was their quarterback, and then the transition there. So he played with two of the best quarterbacks of all time in the NFL.
You know what's so great? I mean, he's so nice, such a kind soul.
Yep.
And it's so great when you meet stars like that turn out to be really just genuine, nice people.
The chat rooms had fun talking about Donkey Kong and Pac-Man and all those fun things. I think at some point in our lives, we've all played games.
Yes.
I don't currently do it much, but I think everybody has had some kind of phase of their life, Golden Tee, whatever it might be.
You know, again, he and I sat there and talked for about 15 minutes before we started recording about, you know, his background with it and all of that. And so I think it would be fun to dive into it a little bit more with him and also how it works, because it is something that's growing and it's becoming such a big deal. And Nebraska has a big club here that's going well. And so, you know, I'd love to dive into that a little bit more and learn. I was fascinated by it. I mean, you compete for national titles and all of the above. So
Jessica, the football office now has a screen in the lobby. They're playing it every night down there.
Oh, yeah. So he was talking about going over to you know, when the recruits come in, because one of the recruits was supposed to come down here for an interview, and he got into a heated Madden battle and ended up not being able to come down. So you're talking about having Ahman go up there. I'm like, well, you got to take it easy on the recruits. He said, not a chance. Not a chance.
And I guarantee you, if we were over at the Hendricks Center and went into the men's or women's basketball locker rooms, I guarantee they're playing games over there too.
Oh, yeah, and probably know who Ahman is. And
yeah, probably do.
He'd probably go beat their butts too.
Yep. No mercy. Show no mercy. Hey, folks, check out the Husker Extra mobile app from the team at Lincoln Journal-Star. It's the best place for everything Husker sports. Search the App Store for Husker Extra and download today. When we come back, we're going to talk women's tennis. Their season begins tomorrow against Western Michigan. We'll hear from Coach Jacobson next.
Hi, it's Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald.
And I'm Amy Just from the Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey, listen, HuskerExtra.com and the Husker Extra mobile app have the best coverage of Nebraska sports.
Our reporting team shares features and analysis of all Husker sports, along with the latest recruiting news and more.
Plus, Husker Extra subscribers have access to our exclusive podcast, The Showdown, where we share our latest insights and expectations.
Go to HuskerExtra.com or search Husker Extra in your app store.
Download and subscribe today.
While some seed companies put a greater stake in stock prices and anonymous shareholders, Rob Seco knows that what's important to you hits closer to home. That's why you'll find we're focused on your needs. With a simplicity that makes us easy to do business with, a relationship that makes it easy to connect with anyone in the company, and the technology, traits, and genetics you need from any source. Put your stock in the company that puts you first. Rob Seco.
I'm University of Nebraska-Lincoln student Hannah Pham with Campus News. Students from Nebraska's Johnny Carson Center for Emerging Media Arts helped create visual effects for the Star Wars TV series Obi-Wan Kenobi. This opportunity came from a 3-month internship with Lola VFX, a visual effects firm in Los Angeles. This internship transitioned to employment, with Huskers also creating effects for the superhero movie Thor: Love and Thunder.
Huskers, do you want a fulfilling career that's financially rewarding? Explore the many ways you can be a part of the insurance community. Go to iian.org/careers today. Business insurance is a lot to manage. Did you know a trusted choice independent insurance agent can help guide you through it at no extra cost to you? They'll do your insurance. You just do you. Find out more at trustedchoice.com.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
SOS to the rescue. SOS to the rescue.
As the Huskers head to halftime, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he is so cold. The furnace is out again. SOS, he screams, and calls SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer trusted since 1950. With Luxair, you get a free 10-year labor warranty with a new system. SOS Heating and Cooling.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Dear gas prices, go take a hike. Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. The Toyota hybrid lineup brings efficiency with power, savings with style, and top-notch tech to keep you connected. Not to mention plush premium interiors and the most advanced Toyota safety features. So, now you know who you're talking to. Toyota, the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. Toyota, the brand with a hybrid or electric vehicle for every driver. Toyota, the brand that helps save you money at the pump. Now, let me ask you a question, dear gas prices. You really think you can stand in the way of the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years? Think again. Toyota Hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
Your story. It lives in River City, where you can enjoy a metropolitan vibe and a small town feel, where we set the standard for service and looking out for one another, where there's so much more than steak in our thriving food scene. Your story is the story of Omaha, told by those who live it and love it, whether that's helping you keep up with the Cornhuskers or creating the content you crave. And here in the Omaha World Herald is where it comes to life. Omaha World Herald, where your story lives.
Welcome back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Delighted to be joined in studio tonight by Scott Jacobson, Husker women's tennis coach. They begin their season tomorrow with their opener against Western Michigan out at the Dillon Tennis Center at 4 o'clock. Good to see you.
You too, Greg.
We started school Monday, long break. When did you get your team kind of back and gathered back in Lincoln?
The 16th, actually, was first day. Some of the kids came back 4 or 5 days early, and we could work with them up to 4 hours that particular week. So about 10 days, and it's go time. So it's we're excited. It's going to be fun. A great group of young ladies and fun to work with. So,
Coach, we talk a lot on here about the transfer portal and how it affects maybe football. But you've utilized it, too. You've had some transfers come into the program in the last year.
We have, yeah. We've got a young lady, Anna Zimberg from Baylor University, transferred in, and then Anfisa Denlichenko from University of Minnesota, and then we've got a Kansas recruit, too, Rafaela Lacasse, and she's from Kansas. And, they've all fit in really, really well. Team dynamic is strong. Those three are, really buy-in, and it's just been really fun to have them here.
Is your lineup set, or do you tweak a few things in the first few weeks?
No, the first couple of weeks we'll see some different locations of people in the team. Doubles is always a challenge to get it right away in the beginning of the season, but usually by the third or fourth week of the season, we're kind of set in the doubles and pretty consistent in the singles as well. So,
how much carryover will there be from fall? Because you played some matches in the fall. Is that just more of a mix and match and let's experiment a little bit here? How much do you carry that over from what you saw 4 months ago to now?
Well, they're two different animals. I mean, some of our best seasons, I've told the team back in 2013 when we were as high as 6th in the nation that particular year, we had a horrendous fall. And so it's the difference between playing for yourself, which is basically what you do during the fall, and then playing for a team, are just completely different, and so it's the one time in these kids' lives where they actually get to compete for one another, and so it's a little bit more emotional when you're not just competing for yourself, but you're competing for teammates, and so we think we have a group that is really going to excel competing for each other, so it'll be good. But the fall was strong. I mean, we had continued to grow individually, and so we had some positive results and a lot of tennis, but the team concept is a little bit different when we start our spring season.
Again, visiting with Husker women's tennis coach Scott Jacobson here on Sports Nightly. How valuable in your eyes and your years of coaching is playing doubles to help your singles talents and abilities?
It helps. Well, part of it is if you just step on the court and you're just starting and you're just playing singles, like team setting, we always start with doubles first, right? And so there's a 30 to 40 minute competitive play in doubles before you play singles. So if you just play singles only, it's a little bit harder to get your motor started, to get off to a quick start. But if you play the doubles first, you're kind of in competition mode, and so being able to play both helps. But we've had kids that are just really good on a doubles court, and that's all they do. So, yeah.
Mentioned that you've got Western Michigan tomorrow at 4 at the Dillon Tennis Center, and then Utah State will be in on Sunday. For people who haven't attended a college tennis match before, how's the format work? Do you start singles? Do you start doubles? How does it all lay out?
We start doubles first and then play a set to 6 and 3 doubles matches. The first team to win 2 doubles matches wins 1 point. And then there's a 5-minute intermission, and then you start the singles. We play 6 singles after that. And if you've never been to the Dillon Tennis Center, it's just one of the best indoor tennis complexes in the nation, far and away. The viewing is spectacular, and I think individuals that have never seen a tennis match before come out and see the quality of the tennis would be very, very impressed.
Well, I mentioned earlier in the week that a young man who made it to the quarters at the Australian Open was the NCAA champion at Florida last year, so he quickly has turned that into a pretty good little pro career.
Yeah.
So the level is really, really good, particularly in the Big Ten level.
It is. Big Ten is loaded always, and so competition is great.
I mentioned to you before we started that you got a lot of home matches. You like that, though.
We do. We like to play at home. I think it's good for a number of the kids get a chance to sleep in their own bed, get good rest. Also helps them academically. It's just like it's hard to study when you're on the road. So I think just from an academic standpoint, from just a health standpoint, the more we can play at home, the better.
Tennis is in its roots is really more of a single sport than a team sport. But how do you kind of overcome some of that and build team camaraderie and get everybody to root and pull for each other?
Well, I mean, there definitely needs to be a we mentality versus a me mentality. And the thing that's sometimes challenging is up to the age of 17 or 18, it's always been an individual sport. It's always been about me. And so, we talk a lot about the importance of, 1 point, no matter where you are in the lineup, 1 through 6. It's all worth 1 point. 1, 2, or 3 doubles, it's all worth 1 point. So it's not about where you play. It's about how hard you play and how hard you compete for one another that's really important.
Very good. Well, Coach, appreciate you coming in and updating us on the team. 4 o'clock tomorrow, Sunday, Utah State at 10 a.m., and I know you'd love to see some folks come out and watch your team play.
Absolutely. Look forward to having you. Thank you.
Good luck, Scott.
Thanks, Greg.
Scott Jacobson with us here on Sports Nightly. Buckle up, folks. Put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Jessica will rejoin us next.
At Nebraska, our people will always be our greatest asset. Day by day, donors give our teams the best opportunity to compete and win through their generous donations. Our vision for the future is ambitious and requires help from those who want to see Husker athletics excel at the highest level. Go big and join thousands of other Huskers Athletic Fund members with your gift today at huskers.com/donate.
Husker fans, this is Matt Davison with the 1890 Initiative. You've probably heard about NIL, name, image, and likeness, and now you can have an immediate impact on the success of our programs. The 1890 Initiative is a proud NIL company in Nebraska, and with your help, we can maximize our student athletes' opportunities with NIL and prepare them for life after college. Nebraska has always been a leader in college athletics. Let's do the same with NIL. To learn more, visit 1890nebraska.com, where 100% of your donation goes directly to Husker student athletes. That's 1890nebraska.com.
Kick off the new year in a new Jeep SUV or Ram truck from Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Blair during the Start Something New sales event. Woodhouse is your trusted Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer for over 30 years with an extensive inventory and sales experts who will guide you to the vehicle fit for your lifestyle. Find your next vehicle online at WoodhouseChryslerJeepDodge.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Bank of the West is offering the first checking account designed for climate action. It gives back 1% of the account's net revenue to the planet at no cost to you. Shows you the estimated carbon impact of debit card purchases. And there's no minimum balance required. Learn more at bankofthewest.com/1%. Additional conditions apply. Member FDIC.
Here's Gracel to the right corner with it against Sensabaugh. Flips it between the circles to Wiltshire, touch pass. Denham Dawson, jump stop, puts it up, reverse layup, good!
Hey Husker fans, join us Saturday for a Nebraska basketball doubleheader. The women's team takes on the Hawkeyes with coverage beginning at 11:45 a.m., while the men's team matches up with the Terrapins, coverage beginning at 2:30 p.m. on the HRN. Tune in to your local affiliates or at Huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
Folks, the 2023 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament heads to the Target Center in Minneapolis for the first time, March 1st to the 5th. Follow the Huskers to the Twin Cities by getting your all-session tickets for just $75 right now at Huskers.com. Also, the ticket office wanted to remind us the baseball team will be playing at U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis that same weekend, and you can get some tickets up through March the 5th for that.
It'll be fun.
Catch both.
Yes, we need
I
to
know
let
people that are doing that.
We need to let the Big Ten tournament know about scheduling so that people can go to both.
Go to both.
You know?
Baseball will play the defending national champs, the Ole Miss Rebels, on Friday at 11 a.m. So, and I
Are
know
you
people
ready for baseball? You
I
got
am.
your charts all done?
First practice tomorrow.
Wow.
First practice. They're going to go out to Hardtog over at Lincoln East.
When's the field
tomorrow.
going to be ready?
It's ready, but it's grass, so they probably don't want them out there on it right now because it's frozen and
There's still probably snow on it.
Maybe a little bit. Most of the snow's melted.
No,
What?
it's not.
Most of it's melted. It's
Not
almost
around
all
my
gone.
apartment complex.
Well,
I
those
need
are
more
probably the
sun.
piles that they shoveled and pushed up.
I was just telling Coach Williams, like when I take my dog out to potty, I can't find grass anywhere.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. Because most of my areas are melted away.
I mean-
tomorrow's going to be 45, I think. Cody says he's a Galaga guy. Your Mario Kart. Frogger's been mentioned in the chat room. People had fun hearing your Ahman Green chat.
I know, right? I mean, listen, I'm undefeated at Mario Kart, so don't challenge me at that.
And you took out Baker.
Baker Mayfield, yep, I did on the big screen at Oklahoma. I mean, listen, I'm really good at that game. Nobody challenged me at that. And I'm going to tell him on that next time he comes back.
Somebody mentioned Temco Super Bowl. That's another good fan favorite, so that's a fun segment. We have a full show tomorrow night. We're going to hear from Brock Hardy. Wrestler for the Huskers at 141's had a really good year.
Yes, and has an unbelievable story. So you want to tune in for that and hear how he's gotten to Nebraska and what it means to him, but also has a chance to make some noise in the postseason as well. He's having a heck of a year.
They've got Wisconsin Sunday at the Devaney Center for the next duel for Mark Manning's club. Folks, our Sports Online Hotline brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com anytime. 18 brands and a huge selection of pre-owned. You can always find what you're looking for with Woodhouse. That'll do it for Jessica and I, our women's basketball show with head coach Amy Williams. Coming up next hour, get your comments, questions ready for Coach Williams. That's coming up after the top of the hour break. Have a great night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
There is no place like Nebraska, and there is no place that treats you like your home like Sapp Brothers. For over 50 years, Sapp Brothers has fueled America's heartland and has been a reliable partner to local farms, businesses, and Huskers fans across Nebraska, providing the highest quality fuel, lubricants, and propane, servicing your farming equipment, and welcoming guests into our travel centers. Visit www.sappbros.net. Sapp Brothers is proud to be an official partner of Huskers Athletics.
Nebraska Innovation Campus creates partnerships between business and the University of Nebraska. Partners lease office space, laboratories, pilot plants, and greenhouses, all centrally located with easy access to University of Nebraska talent and resources. Nebraska Innovation Campus, creating spaces and culture that inspire. Learn more at innovate.unl.edu.
More Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic care first. Studies show that chiropractic is safe, drug-free, and the most effective treatment option for back, neck, and joint pain. It can also help patients of all ages reduce migraines, improve mobility, and maximize athletic performance. Keep the entire family healthy and active with natural, cost-effective chiropractic care. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
SOS to the rescue. SOS to the rescue.
As the Huskers head to halftime, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he is so cold. The furnace is out again. SOS, he screams, and calls SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer trusted since 1950. With Luxair, you get a free 10-year labor warranty with a new system. SOS Heating and Cooling.
SOS to the
This is the Nebraska Women's Basketball Show with head coach Amy Williams. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Strome moving left to right at the head of the key, gives to Franklin, who moves right to left, spins around Widener, and Widener blocks it. Big time block for Allison Widener.
That is filthy right there by Allison Widener.
At top board, high lob underneath for Mendelson, catches it, and she scores off the assist from Izzy Board.
I'll tell you what, she is making immediate impact.
Markowski, Shelley, and Moriarty. Huskers lead by 1, just under 2 minutes to go in the third. Ivy down the right lane line, challenges and scores. Put it up over Hatsa Leonti. Shelley to throw it in baseline left, into Markowski, back to Jazz, three-pointer, you betcha! In the deep left corner, off the screen assist from Markowski. Horn series for Nebraska. Ivy around a Mendelson screen, deep right side, Izzy Bourne, three, yeah! Betcha! That's a Central Valley A3 from Izzy Bourne, off the assist from Ivy. Stand up, Husker fans! This is a great win for Nebraska. They knock off previously undefeated Kansas, their second win over a top 20 team this year, and the Huskers in 3 overtimes defeat Kansas 85-79 tonight in Lincoln.
Here is your host, Matt Coatney, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hour 2 of Sports Nightly, and it is the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Show. Amy Williams is sitting across the table from me. We're going to take your calls and your texts tonight at 402-413-2400. A couple of things coming up on the show tonight. In our second segment, we're going to visit with the Vice President of Women's Basketball for the Big Ten Conference, Megan Kahn. We will give away 4 tickets to Nebraska's next home game against Michigan State next Thursday night at PBA, and we'll discuss the upcoming game against Iowa. But most of all, we're going to get your thoughts again. Text is great on your text machine at 402-413-2400 or a phone call away. But let's find out how Amy Williams is doing, because when I don't see my coach for more than 2 days in a row, I get worried this time of year because I really feel like I lose the pulse of everything Amy Williams. I have not seen you since the last home game, and then no midweek game this week. So how have things been with no midweek game this week?
It's been great. Just really good timing. We've been just this time of year, everybody's a little dinged up. So to have a little bit of extra time to kind of get recovered and recharged, and for my coaching staff to be able to get out and do some recruiting, and you know, we've been able to be in the gyms, and it's just been a good week.
Huskers coming off a loss to nationally ranked Maryland, 69-54. So you split the season series with the Terrapins. I know that you weren't happy with the result. Lots of teams are going to lose to Maryland. In fact, they're ranked 10th right now, and they're leading number 13 Michigan by 8 in the fourth quarter. But overall, what are your thoughts looking back on that last game against Maryland?
Yeah, I mean, obviously quite disappointed with the way we started, and you know, it's been a little bit of a reoccurring theme, and that's something that we're really working hard on, is just getting off to a great start and trying to you know, not take so long to kind of get adjusted and find a way to put points on the board. But you know, just 14 first half points, and then to bounce back and score 40 in the second half. I think, you know, we proved to ourselves that when we're playing our best and really clicking on all cylinders, we can play with the best teams in the country. But we've got to do it for 40 minutes, and that's kind of what we walked away again feeling like in that ball game.
Dorothy Lynch, homestyle and light and lean dressing, endless flavor abilities. Matt Coatney with Amy Williams. We'd love to hear from you. Our text line is 402-413-2400. Let's talk about starting games. It seems to have been an issue across multiple games this season. It's hard for me to put my finger on it. As you noted, 40 second half points compared to 14 in the first half. Do you have any kind of solutions? I think if you did, you probably would have already waved your magic wand there. But what do you think contributes to maybe some slow starts you've had this year? Is it all about the opponent?
I think we've had a very challenging schedule. There's no question about that. But I think we just need to be a little bit more. I'm proud of the fact that our team finds ways to make good adjustments, and they're not, quitting or giving up. They're getting a feel for the game and the team and making the proper adjustments to be able to be successful down the stretch and to do the things we need to do. But our just focus right from the very jump needs to be just a little bit better, and continuing to emphasize and focus on our preparation.
Hey, come support the women's basketball team as we pack PBA on February the 18th against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Join the Omaha World Herald, Lincoln Journal-Star, Husker Extra, and Beck's Hybrids in helping the Nebraska women's basketball team pack PBA. Coach Williams of the Huskers want you there to give them a home court advantage against the Iowa Hawkeyes on February the 18th. Purchase your tickets at Huskers.com. 402-413-2400 if you'd like to call or text Coach Williams. Huskers now with a record of 12-8, halfway through Big Ten season with a record of 4-5. Does it seem like we're halfway through the conference season?
That happened fast. So
yeah.
here we are halfway through. It just seems a little crazy, and it's just always so unique to me when you're halfway through the season, but there's teams that we haven't seen yet. Northwestern, Illinois, like teams that we're going to play a couple times, and have Iowa for one, and we're going to play those teams a couple times, but we haven't even seen them yet once. So it's a little bit crazy. The second half of the season will give us a look at different teams than what we've faced, other than I think Michigan and a couple games, but for the most part it's going to be Michigan State and Illinois twice and Iowa twice and Northwestern twice, and teams that we haven't faced up to this point. So I think for our team, just staying encouraged and knowing that we can, at any point, we've proven that we can play with the best teams in our league, and really just press on the gas and keep striving for playing our best basketball in the second half.
Aside from the game at Iowa coming up this Saturday, which will be on regular Fox TV, 12 noon Central, Jeff Grace and I with 11:45 a.m. Central with the pregame coverage. All those games, almost half the conference schedule will be played just in the month of February. That's a pretty compacted schedule, isn't it?
It is. And so we're really trying to be smart with this week, kind of being that no midweek game this week, and being smart because we know what's coming, and that's going to be pretty compact February, and one game preps for a lot of the games that we have in that month. So it's going to, I'm sure, the players this time of year, they like to play games, and coaches still value any practice opportunities that we get, but I think it'll be good, to get in a rhythm here heading into February.
Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. I want to talk a little bit about your team in terms of where they are now. I've said earlier in the year, you really had two different teams. You started the season with Trinity Brady. You started the season with Allison Widener. Now 40% of your starting lineup is different now because of injury. I think it took you a while to try and figure out how to play without Trinity in that starting lineup, and then some really good wins. And then Allison Widener gets hurt. Do you feel like your team is had enough time now to really kind of learn how to play without Allison? Are you sick of getting that question, or is that just the reality of what the rest of the season is going to be, trying to figure out how to get the production that you would get similar to if Allison was still here?
Yeah, I think at this point in time, we've had enough practice time and games experience without those two players in our lineup, and it's time for us to have made the adjustment and continue to improve on the players that we currently have in the roster. I think, we've talked about this before, but in addition to adjusting to the loss of Trinity Brady and Allison Widener in our lineup, but just working Sam Hybe and Maggie Mendelson, who are capable of being two really big pieces for us kind of back midstream, and trying to get them their feet wet and, game experience. You're usually doing that in your non-conference games. To do that right smack in the middle of a very intense conference season. But at this point in time, Matt, we feel like we've played enough games with the lineup that we have currently, and we should be clicking and finding a way to press on the gas heading into the second half of conference play.
Our Sports Nightly Hotline is brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com anytime. With 18 brands and a huge selection of pre-owned, you can always find what you are looking for with Woodhouse. We've got a couple of questions on our text line at 402-413-2400. And no name here. Please give your name. We like to give you credit, but somebody on our text line says, Amy, do you see any chance of victory at Iowa if you start slowly again? Well, Iowa scores a ton of points, so that's a pretty good question, I think.
Yeah. We know that our best chance to win is to string together 40 minutes, and so our focus is going to be getting off to a great start. But our team is really confident that we can go to Iowa and get a victory. But a big focus for us will be to get off to a great start.
Come support the women's basketball team as we pack PBA on February the 18th against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Join the Omaha World Herald, Lincoln Journal-Star, Husker Extra, and Beck's Hybrids in helping the Nebraska women's basketball team pack PBA. Coach Williams and the Huskers want you there to give them a home court advantage against the Iowa Hawkeyes. That's on February the 18th. Purchase your tickets at Huskers.com. Jim in Columbus says, Amy, if Markowski and Shelley aren't hitting three-pointers like we know they can, how do you adjust to that without giving things away? Do you want to start taking it more to the inside or just let them taking three-pointers? So talking about Markowski and Shelley and the three-point line.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I feel very strongly about is, our coaching staff, our team, and, all has strong confidence in our ability to knock down three-point shots. And so I think, it is sometimes the thought process is, if you're not knocking down threes quite as well, then just let's take it inside. And no doubt about it, we're trying to find ways to get ourselves to the free throw line a little bit more and get paint touches. That's going to be continue to be a goal. But obviously the more that you try to drive it inside and cram it inside and play it inside and pass it inside, the more that people are doubling off or sagging off or giving up the perimeter shot. And so for us, we're going to just remain confident, continue to do what we do, continue to work, and show the confidence that we know we have in our ability to knock down open shots and play our game the way that we're capable of doing.
Now, Jim's question kind of leads me into tonight's ticket giveaway question. So are you ready to give away some tickets?
Let's do it.
These will be for Nebraska's next home game, which will be against the Michigan State Spartans at Pinnacle Bank Arena, 7:30 p.m. Central, a week from tonight, next Thursday. The bottom of the hour, the rare bottom of the hour start time. But if you have the answer, get on your text machine. And if you don't have your text machine with you, have a friend text this to you, 402-413-2400, and the first person who gets the answer right will get 4 tickets to the Huskers home game against Michigan State next Thursday night. So get your text machine ready out there. Here's the question. How many three-pointers did Alexis Markowski hit last season against Iowa at Carver Hawkeye Arena? How many three-pointers did Alexis Markowski hit last season against Iowa at Carver Hawkeye Arena? 402-413-2400 with your text. When we return, we'll let you know if we have a winner. I think this is a pretty easy question if you're a Husker women's basketball fan. And when we return, we'll have the answer to that. Sam in Omaha, you don't have the correct answer, just to let you know. When we return, we'll visit with Megan Kahn, the vice president of women's basketball for the Big Ten. We'll take more of your calls and your texts. Stay right there.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Sam Pineda with Campus News. Husker students on the debate team and Bateman competition public relations team earned national championships this past year, marking a first for each program. The debate team claimed victory with one of the youngest teams in the country, while the Bateman competition public relations team won their championship by building a PR campaign for the Lymphoma Research Foundation.
The Mazda lineup of SUVs will provide safety, performance, and capability on your journey ahead. From the three-row Mazda CX-9 to the first-ever Mazda CX-50, our sales team is ready to guide you to the SUV for your lifestyle. Shop the Omaha Metro's exclusive Mazda dealers at Woodhouse Mazda in Bellevue or Woodhouse Place Mazda. Visit us online for your next Mazda SUV at woodhousemazda.com.
Husker fans, this is Matt Davison with the 1890 Initiative. You've probably heard about NIL, name, image, and likeness, and now you can have an immediate impact on the success of our programs. The 1890 Initiative is a proud NIL company in Nebraska, and with your help, we can maximize our student athletes' opportunities with NIL and prepare them for life after college. Nebraska has always been a leader in college athletics. Let's do the same with NIL. To learn more, visit 1890nebraska.com, where 100% of your donation goes directly to Husker student athletes. That's 1890nebraska.com.
Nebraska women's basketball offers one of the best values in all of Husker sports with single-game reserve tickets at Pinnacle Bank Arena for just $15. Adult general admission seating is just $10, while youth and senior general admission tickets are $5. Children 6 and under are just $1. Plans now to bring your whole family to Husker women's basketball for Big Ten home games in January and February. Get your tickets and the full schedule at Huskers.com.
Here's Gracel to the right corner with it against Sensabaugh. Flips it between the circles to Wiltshire. Touch pass. Denim Dawson, jump stop, puts it up. Reverse layup, good!
Hey Husker fans, join us Saturday for a Nebraska basketball doubleheader. The women's team takes on the Hawkeyes with coverage beginning at 11:45 a.m., while the men's team matches up with the Terrapins, coverage beginning at 2:30 p.m. on the HRN. Tune in to your local affiliates or at Huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Agriculture is the economic engine of the Midwest. At Acres Equipment, we dedicate ourselves to making that engine run smoothly. We supply our farmers and ranchers with quality John Deere equipment, parts, and service. We also deliver the most advanced technology and precision ag strategies to help them farm today and for the future. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Bank of the West is offering the first checking account designed for climate action. It gives back 1% of the account's net revenue to the planet at no cost to you. Shows you the estimated carbon impact of debit card purchases. And there's no minimum balance required. Learn more at bankofthewest.com/1%. Additional conditions apply. Member FDIC.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Every day, Central Valley Ag works with our farmers to feed a hungry planet. CVA's Elite Acre gives growers assurance of profits and margins in volatile global markets. Manage your risk. Lock in your ROI through CVA's Elite Acre program. Learn more and register to win 500 gallons of CVA's Ruby Diesel when you go online to cvacoop.com. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
At CHI Health Clinic, we believe healthcare should be personal, because knowing your provider personally makes appointments more comfortable, more productive, and more meaningful to your overall health. Get matched with a primary care provider based on your personality and lifestyle using CHI Health Clinic's My Provider Match. Take the survey at myprovidermatch.com to find the right provider for you. Getting healthier starts by getting personal at CHI Health Clinic.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and I have some exciting news to share. At Wahlburgers, we are all about bringing the family together to enjoy a great meal and have a great time. That's why right now, for a limited time, kids eat free every day at all Hy-Vee Wahlburger locations. Kids 12 and under can enjoy one free kids meal with any purchase of an adult burger, sandwich, or entree salad.
Bring the family to Wahlburgers and the Wahlburgers and Hy-Vee stores, where right now kids can eat free.
Welcome back to the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Show. Amy Williams is here with me, and I'm Matt Coatney. And we have a winner in our ticket giveaway. Patrick in North Platte correctly identified Alexis Markowski hit 6 threes last season against Iowa at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Patrick, our producer, Andrew, will give you details on how to pick up your 4 tickets for the Huskers game against Michigan State next Thursday. So thank you for the correct answer of 6. All right, we're very happy to now have a special guest on the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Show. She was with us last season, right, I think even before she started her new job. Megan Kahn joined the Big Ten Conference as its vice president of women's basketball in late 2021, and in that role, she works with the Big Ten commissioner to lead the women's basketball efforts for the conference. Megan also is charged with developing a strategy to expand and enhance Big Ten's women's basketball operations, but she's the first senior-level position at the Big Ten dedicated specifically to the growth of women's basketball, and I have thoroughly enjoyed getting to know her over the last couple of seasons. Megan, thank you for joining us. How are you this evening?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me on.
Well, it's a pleasure having you on. You're on with Amy Williams also. I have so many questions for you, so let me just get right into your still kind of newly created position, Vice President of Women's Basketball Operations, for right at a year or just over a year. How different has the role been for you from what you envisioned when you first started?
Well, I'm not sure I'd say different. I think it's everything I imagined and more. I definitely don't want to relive COVID and the impact it had on our schedule and the rescheduling that we had to go through last year. But it's exactly what I thought it would be in terms of really getting autonomy to grow our brand and to elevate Big Ten women's basketball. I kind of wake up and pinch myself. Right now, every single morning I wake up, we have 4 teams in the top 10 and 6 in the top 25. And, potentially, hopefully we'll get a chance to talk about what the NCAA tournament bracket's looking like. But, if we have 7, 8, 9 teams, we'd have a super successful season. So I just feel so blessed and lucky and grateful to wake up every morning and get to do what I do.
Amy, I have to think that you have to be pretty happy that the Big Ten took the step of having a newly created senior level position dedicated to women's basketball. I would think the term advocate for women's basketball in the league is certainly there. That had to make you feel pretty good, and having somebody who is so involved like Megan, don't you think?
Yeah, just without question, just echoing, across the league, talking to all of the head coaches, just how important and valuable it's been for us to have Megan advocating for all of the women's basketball teams in the Big Ten Conference and just in general our sport and the growth of it, and it's such a treat for us to be able to have someone like Megan that we know is being a voice outside of just us constantly trying to advocate for our own programs, but being a voice for just the league in general and how strong and competitive the Big Ten women's basketball is, and to have somebody that we can turn to with concerns and thoughts and just ideas, and she's constantly open and wanting to hear what our thoughts are about how we can continue to grow women's basketball in the Big Ten Conference. It's just it's an absolute treat.
Visiting with Megan Kahn on the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Hour. She's the Vice President of Women's Basketball for the Big Ten, which is taking its tournament to Minneapolis at the Target Center this March. Megan, since Nebraska's been in the Big Ten, it's mainly been in Indianapolis, a couple of years in suburban Chicago. But really, what was the impetus for moving the Big Ten tournament to Minneapolis now?
Yeah, this is our 30th year of the women's tournament. Indianapolis has done a fantastic job for us in the past. And it wasn't so much what they weren't doing, but it was a recognition that moving our championship events, and that includes our football championship game and also includes our men's basketball tournament, around the footprint of the Big Ten, expanded experiences for our student athletes. It certainly offered economic impact to those cities that we're going to. But I think one of the things I'm most excited about, especially on the women's basketball side, is it expands our fan demographic in our fan base. And now Minneapolis is a very different geographic area of the footprint than Indianapolis was. And so we have a lot new schools. Nebraska's now within easy driving distance of Minneapolis. Iowa City, of course. Minnesota's right there in Minneapolis. But we have a whole new fan base that can drive and experience that tournament. If we look at the demographic of women's basketball, it's becoming younger. Traditionally, it was a bit of an older crowd. And with what Caitlin Clark's doing and Diamond Miller and Leah Brown and some of these stars that we've had in the Big Ten in recent years, we're starting to really grow that demographic to young boys and young girls, and to be able to get families to Minneapolis really excites me. I think our fans are going to be pleasantly surprised when they get up there. I was just in Minneapolis. We did a tip-off event there earlier this week. It's probably my 8th time I've been there since we announced that we're taking the tournament up there. And I'm pleasantly pleased with where we are in the process of the planning. And I think our fans will, and our teams for that matter, will really have a great experience there.
Amy, you've done a great job recruiting the Minneapolis and really the state of Minnesota. If you take a look at Callan Hake, Ani Stewart, Sam Hybe on this year's team, I have to think that you're pretty happy the tournament's moving to Minnesota. How do you feel about the move?
Yeah, I think with 4 Minnesota natives on our roster, obviously they're excited to be, being able to be around a lot of family and close to home. But I think just experiencing the Final Four that was hosted in Minneapolis last year, and just what a great job that city did, really supporting the women's basketball Final Four and really turning out just outstanding fan support and just did an outstanding job with that. So I think it's really exciting for us to be heading to Minneapolis after watching what they were able to do with that tournament for our conference tournament, but also just excited, as Megan alluded to, is just, an easy 6-hour drive right up to Minneapolis. There's a lot more fans, I think, from Nebraska that will be able to go up and really be supportive of the women's basketball tournament this year.
And while we're talking about it, let me remind you the 2023 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament is heading to the Target Center in Minneapolis for the first time, March 1st through the 5th. Follow the Huskers to the Twin Cities by getting your all-session tickets for just $75 right now at Huskers.com. I'm Matt Coatney. Amy Williams with me. This is the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Show, and we're so happy that the Vice President of Women's Basketball for the Big Ten, Megan Kahn, has joined us tonight. All right, so everybody wants to know about the NCAA tournament. 6 of the Big Ten teams are ranked in this week's national polls. Nebraska and Purdue right behind those teams in the standings. From your chair, and we talked about you being obviously an advocate for all the women's basketball teams in the league, and we're still over a month away from the NCAA selections. But at this point, realistically, how many bids do you think the Big Ten can hope to get in the NCAA tournament?
Well, selfishly, I'd love to still say 9. The most we've ever had is 7, so even 8 would be unprecedented. I think the one thing that separates the Big Ten this year, and we've already sort of alluded to it and talked about it, is that we're finally getting the respect on the national level that maybe hasn't been there in the past. And so the recognition of how tough our league is, top to bottom, really anyone can beat anybody. Any given night, I do think, depending upon how the season closes out, we have a lot of basketball still to be played in the next 5 weeks. But the latest bracketology had Nebraska in the last 4 in. It had Purdue in the first 4 out, and Michigan State has sort of been toying on that line as well. That would round out the 9 teams for us. And, from my perspective, we talk about being an advocate, and I do hold regular meetings with the NCAA Women's Basketball Committee, and we're currently pitching 9 teams.
9 sounds good to me. When I see these teams from my spot on Radio Row, I'm like, this is an NCAA tournament team. I know Amy thinks about that. Megan Kahn is our guest. COVID. Megan became a term we all came to know back in the spring of 2020, changed our really lives in terms of not only basketball, but we're talking about women's basketball tonight, really impacted years of eligibility, rosters, other issues, brought into focus some equity issues among male and female athletes at the postseason tournaments. But from a broad view, how much has COVID changed women's basketball, specifically in the Big Ten? And do you think we're back to maybe pre-pandemic levels with fans, interest level, things like that?
I think what it did that I have to start off with saying is it catapulted women's basketball to a place that for years had been talked about, but there was minimal impetus to ever do anything about it. I know those who were my trailblazers when it comes to women's basketball administration were having these same conversations many years ago, but they just couldn't move the needle. And what San Antonio and the NCAA tournament exposed that year really catapulted women's basketball to a whole new space. And it was really Commissioner Warren's impetus for creating my role in making sure that women had the same level playing field that our men had. And Commissioner Warren was a huge advocate for women's basketball and women's sports. And so when I think about where the Big Ten is, even in the 13 months since I've been in this job, and where we're headed, I see the vision 2 and 3 years out. It's special to me. It feels super great. And the conversations on the national level that we're having, there was no such thing as collectives 2 or 3 years ago. There's no such thing as NIL. We're talking about the NCAA tournament and the NCAA being able to go to media companies and bid for new media rights for the NCAA tournament and separating those out, and how that economic impact and potentially has been undervalued for years. And so I do think that the interest is stronger than it's ever been, which is really, really exciting. I think the Big Ten is as strong as it's ever been and able to generate and garner a lot of national attention. If you look at what kind of crowds are coming back, we talk about pre-pandemic levels, and I think we're starting to see the fans come back in arenas. And part of that's due to our teams, the quality of the players, the quality of the people. Those young student athletes are phenomenal women. I think Basketball Media Days is one of the opportunities where I have to really get to be up close and personal, and they're just such impressive people off the court. And they make great role models in our communities. And if you look at, I think the stat is we've had 10 teams surpass crowds of 5,000 plus this year. So 10 of our 14 teams have already garnered crowds of 5,000 plus. That says a lot. And so I think the attention's going to only continue to grow. The investment in women's basketball, we certainly know on a national level, within the Big Ten, of course, but on a national level is going to grow too, and sponsorship dollars. And as we continue to invest time and resources, it's got tremendous upside.
Amy, I know Nebraska's got great infrastructure. I know it was terrible for me personally during what I call the COVID year, not being with the team. How much that really kind of impacted me. But from your standpoint here in 2023, have we gotten back to pre-pandemic interest in women's basketball and those kinds of things?
It most certainly feels that way to us, and we're so blessed to run out to amazing crowds, and Husker Nation has just been incredibly on board with supporting our women's basketball team, and so it certainly feels that way to us. There's just a great excitement, and we are fortunate to play just in front of a lot of people at home, on the road, in great venues, and it feels like it's alive and kicking.
Visiting with Megan Kahn, the Vice President of Women's Basketball for the Big Ten Conference tonight. The term transfer portal, I go back to the times when there wasn't a three-point line, so this is kind of a new thing for me, and I think a lot of fans. It emerged kind of during the pandemic time frame, has a major impact on our sport and really all collegiate sports. But from your chair, from a Big Ten women's basketball perspective, do you see any changes that would be significant with the transfer portal in the near future?
It's $1 million question. Look how fast it got upon us. I don't know that we're reverting back to the way it was before, 'cause as everyone knows, we're an entirely new landscape with college athletics in general. But I still think there's going to be some fleshing out of exactly how that's going to look over the course of the next few years. Like for sport-specific transfers, what's the best time of year for them to enter the portal, maybe how long the portal is going to be open to allow those transfers to enter. We even need to look at the success metrics and how transfers are affecting graduation rates and some of the things that the NCAA has keyed on over the years as success metrics that we're tracking. So some of these things still need to be fleshed out. Complicating is the COVID year on impact, I think, to be aware of with the transfer portals, how that potentially affects our fan bases. And if you have student athletes who are coming into institutions for just 1 or 2 years and that fan base doesn't grow in affinity because it's this rotating roster, does that ultimately affect fan interest? Does it decrease fan interest? Also, what does it do to our alumni bases? With a student athlete has 2, potentially 3 institutions that they're suddenly alumni of, and how strong is that affinity for alumni and giving back and some of the things that we see as legacy gifts over time.
I've got a million more questions that I don't have time for, Megan, so let me just go to this one. You know, obviously the departure of Kevin Warren as commissioner, you mentioned how supportive he was of women's basketball, has a major impact on all the Big Ten sports, but I think you had a great relationship with him in your role. What do you hope the next Big Ten commissioner brings to the table in terms of women's basketball?
Well, I'd like to say I hope that she is just as supportive, but whether it's a he or a she, I really hope they model what Kevin has done for women's basketball, not only, like I said earlier, creating this position, but he's really invested. And when he talks about elevating women's sports and elevating women's basketball, it's not just lip service. He was walking the walk, and he was making sure I had every resource imaginable that I needed to be successful. In his leadership, he led by example, and he loved women's basketball. He watched women's basketball. He was one of the first to reach out to our coaches if they hit a coaching milestone. He was just that invested and wanted to be engaged at that level. So I can only hope the new commissioner provides that type of leadership, those type of resources and support for us to continue to elevate Big Ten women's basketball.
Megan, this has been great. I know Amy and I really appreciate all you have done for the Big Ten Conference for women's basketball. And I guess my final question is, do you have a restaurant recommendation where the radio announcers are going to get together for our most important meeting during the Big Ten tournament when we're in Minneapolis? Do you have that kind of insight?
I'm gonna have to get back to you on that because I know how important that meeting is.
Yes.
So I'm gonna have to do my homework. But I will tell you, I've been privy to eat at a lot of restaurants in Minneapolis. I've been very impressed with the food scene, the bar scene. It's very crafty. Their downtown is making a big comeback now that we're getting post-COVID here, and I just couldn't be more excited. I think Minneapolis is going to be a great experience for our fans.
Megan Kahn, Vice President of Women's Basketball for the Big Ten, has joined us. Megan, it's been great. Thank you for joining Amy and myself.
Thanks so much. It was great to be in PBA twice this season, and we'll see if I get there one more time before the season's out.
Megan, thank you very much.
Thanks, Megan.
That's
Thank you.
Megan Kahn. Hey, come support the women's basketball team as we pack PBA on February 18th against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Join the Omaha World Herald, Lincoln Journal-Star, Husker Extra, and Beck's Hybrids in helping the Nebraska women's basketball team pack PBA. Coach Williams and the Huskers want you there to give them a home court advantage against the Iowa Hawkeyes on February the 18th. Purchase your tickets at Huskers.com. More of your texts and your calls at 402-413-2400 with Amy Williams, and we return in a few moments.
The name on the mailbox may say Smith, Myers, Baumgartner, or Johnson, but when you choose to plant with Rob Seco, it includes your name too, making you a stockholder in a company that's invested in you. With the simplicity that makes us easy to do business with, relationships that bring more to the table, the technology, traits, and genetics that take on local conditions, and people with the know-how to use it. At Rob Seco, the only stockholder we listen to is you.
Have you come to a decision yet, sir?
Well, I like the sports car.
It is fun.
I also love the truck.
Yes, sir.
And the SUV is beautiful.
Definitely.
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
Well, I think we'll take it.
Which one, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean the dealership.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Here's Gracel to the right corner with it against Sensabaugh. Flips it between the circles to Wilcher. Touch pass. Denim Dawson, jump stop, puts it up. Reverse layup, good!
Hey Husker fans, join us Saturday for a Nebraska basketball doubleheader. The women's team takes on the Hawkeyes with coverage beginning at 11:45 a.m., while the men's team matches up with the Terrapins, coverage beginning at 2:30 p.m. on the HRN. Tune in to your local affiliates or at Huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
Every day, Central Valley Ag works with our farmers to feed a hungry planet. CVA's Elite Acre gives growers assurance of profits and margins in volatile global markets. Manage your risk. Lock in your ROI through CVA's Elite Acre program. Learn more and register to win 500 gallons of CVA's Ruby Diesel when you go online to cvacoop.com. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear gas prices, go take a hike. Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. The Toyota hybrid lineup brings efficiency with power, savings with style, and top-notch tech to keep you connected. Not to mention plush premium interiors and the most advanced Toyota safety features. So, now you know who you're talking to. Toyota, the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. Toyota, the brand with a hybrid or electric vehicle for every driver. Toyota, the brand that helps save you money at the pump. Now, let me ask you a question, dear gas prices. You really think you can stand in the way of the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years? Think again. Toyota Hybrids. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
As the Huskers head to halftime, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he is so cold. The furnace is out again. SOS, he screams, and calls SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer trusted since 1950. With Luxair, you get a free 10-year labor warranty with a new system. SOS Heating and Cooling.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Hi, it's Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald.
And I'm Amy Just from the Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey, listen, HuskerExtra.com and the Husker Extra mobile app have the best coverage of Nebraska sports.
Our reporting team shares features and analysis of all Husker sports, along with the latest recruiting news and more.
Plus, Husker Extra subscribers have access to our exclusive podcast, The Showdown, where we share our latest insights and expectations.
Go to HuskerExtra.com or search Husker Extra in your app store.
Download and subscribe today.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
Hey, a reminder, come support the women's basketball team as we pack PBA on February the 18th against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Join the Omaha World Herald, Lincoln Journal-Star, Husker Extra, and Beck's Hybrids in helping the Nebraska women's basketball team pack PBA. Coach Williams and the Huskers want you there to give them a home court advantage against the Iowa Hawkeyes on February the 18th. Purchase your tickets at Huskers.com and buckle up and put the phone down. That's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. This is a Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Show. Matt Coatney and Coach Amy Williams with you tonight. Now, we're talking about packing PBA on February the 18th, but we've got this little game at Iowa on Saturday, so you'll play the Hawkeyes there first. They're tough, like many teams in the league, and it is going to be a battle over there. Iowa gave Ohio State their first loss this year, but how different is this Iowa team than maybe teams that Husker fans might remember? They've got a lot of the same personnel, don't they?
Right, yeah. This, it's not a lot of difference there. I mean, very familiar with their roster. They have pretty much the exact same starting five that they played us 3 times last year with, and I think in their last ball game, one of those starters missed due to injury, but is not likely anticipated to be out. We're expecting her probably to play, so I think a pretty familiar roster that Husker fans will recognize a lot of the same people on that. Yeah.
That'll be at noon Central on Saturday. Join Jeff Creech and me at 11:45 a.m. for pregame coverage. When we return, we will talk to John in Lincoln. John, who's on hold. Stay right there, and we will have more with Coach Amy Williams in the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Show when we return in just a few moments.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier.
Husker fans, this is Matt Davison with the 1890 Initiative. You've probably heard about NIL, name, image, and likeness, and now you can have an immediate impact on the success of our programs. The 1890 Initiative is a proud NIL company in Nebraska, and with your help, we can maximize our student athletes' opportunities with NIL and prepare them for life after college. Nebraska has always been a leader in college athletics. Let's do the same with NIL. To learn more, visit 1890nebraska.com, where 100% of your donation goes directly to Husker student athletes. That's 1890nebraska.com.
At Nebraska, our people will always be our greatest asset. Day by day, donors give our teams the best opportunity to compete and win through their generous donations. Our vision for the future is ambitious and requires help from those who want to see Husker athletics excel at the highest level. Go big and join thousands of other Huskers Athletic Fund members with your gift today at huskers.com/donate. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Here's Gracel to the right corner with it against Sensabaugh. Flips it between the circles to Wilcher, touch pass. Denim Dawson, jump stop, puts it up, reverse layup, good!
Hey Husker fans, join us Saturday for a Nebraska basketball doubleheader. The women's team takes on the Hawkeyes with coverage beginning at 11:45 a.m., while the men's team matches up with the Terrapins, coverage beginning at 2:30 p.m. on the HRN. Tune in to your local affiliates or at Huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. So we designed the Ford trucks of the future for everyone. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 45 years straight. Made for performance and capability on and off-road. Because the trucks of the future aren't designed for a few. They're built for America. Ford F-Series. Drive one today. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
Welcome back to the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Show. Matt Coatney with the coach, Amy Williams. Let's go to our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline. Waiting patiently on hold has been John here in Lincoln. John, good evening. You're on with Coach Williams.
Hello, Coach Williams and Matt.
Hi, John.
How are you guys? Hey, I just wanted to wish you a lot of luck this week. I've had this game marked on my calendar, and I know you guys are going to play a spirited, hard game, and we're going to beat the Hawkeyes.
Awesome. I feel the same way. I think that we're going to go. We're going to beat some Hawkeyes. That's the plan. So I appreciate it, John.
Hey, one last thing before I go. Callan Hake has been a kid that has stepped up and into a role maybe that wasn't expected at the beginning of the year, and she has done a fabulous job. I'm really, really proud of her, and she's she's going to be a great Husker in her career here.
Yeah. Thanks for noticing that, John. I really appreciate it. I think we knew that when we lost both Trinity Brady and Allison Widener to injury and being short kind of two starting guards, that we were going to have some people really step up. And I think she's just really done a great job with that. And I think, she's learning. The game is really starting to kind of slow down for her, but right as you're getting into the conference season and it's getting more and more competitive, it seems like she's gaining confidence and things are slowing down and she's kind of knowing what's expected of her. But I've just been so proud of the confidence she's been able to maintain through the ups and downs of a freshman season, and she just is confident and continues to find ways to get her shot, and our team really needs her to do that. So thanks for noticing that, John.
John, we appreciate the phone call on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline. Hey, a reminder, come support the women's basketball team as we pack PBA on February the 18th against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Join the Omaha World Herald, Lincoln Journal-Star, Husker Extra, and Beck's Hybrids in helping the Nebraska women's basketball team pack PBA. Coach Williams and the Huskers want you there to give them a home court advantage against the Iowa Hawkeyes on February the 18th. Purchase your tickets at Huskers.com. We got a text. Again, we don't have a name with this one, but on our text line, Amy, will your 2023 recruits be 2 players, or do you anticipate more than 2 scholarships being available? Any walk-ons? So appreciate that text question.
Yeah, actually, we took a verbal commitment from another 2023 recruit that we're very excited about, and I can't obviously comment or mention name specifics on that young lady right now until we get the official paperwork during the late signing period. So we're very excited to be adding another piece to that 2023 recruiting class, and I think rosters and recruiting, it's just a constant and never-ending solution where we're always kind of our process, I guess, and we're constantly looking to find the right pieces that will fit with our needs as we move forward. So we are continuing to recruit for that class as well.
Huskers have Iowa on the road this Saturday at 12 noon Central, and then you come home a couple of days before the next game against Michigan State on Thursday. What kind of is the timeline for the team? Because you went for a long time, you didn't have to really worry about classes, but right now you're at the beginning of the semester. So how has that affected some of your scheduling?
Yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, as we are getting ready to hit this very compact February schedule and heading into that, our kids getting back into the routine of kind of classes and study hall and eating, regularly at the training tables and seeing some of their other, more of their other fellow athletes and just getting back with study groups. And I think there's something that's comforting about just that routine, and so we're excited about that, to be back in classes. I don't know if the girls would all admit that, but coaches are very excited to be back in the routine of second semester and ready to press on the gas heading into second half of Big Ten play.
All right, well, it's the Huskers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. That's Saturday, 12 noon Central. Jeff Grease joins me at 11:45 Central, pregame coverage right here on the Huskers Radio Network. You ready to get it done?
Let's do it.
Amy Williams, thank you very much. And also thank you to Megan Kahn, the Vice President of Women's Basketball for the Big Ten Conference, and to Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody for hosting Hour 1. That'll wrap up the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Hour and Sports Nightly. Good night, Nebraska.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? you might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
SOS to the rescue. SOS to the rescue.
As the Huskers head to halftime, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he is so cold. The furnace is out again. SOS, he screams, and calls SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer trusted since 1950. With Luxair, you get a free 10-year labor warranty with a new system. SOS Heating and Cooling.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
Experience the difference at Woodhouse Buick GMC. From the GMC Acadia to the Buick Encore, we're sure to have a vehicle that fits your lifestyle. Our climate-controlled showroom guarantees a comfortable shopping experience every time you visit. Plus, our commitment to our customers continues well beyond the date of purchase. You will leave our lot feeling comfortable and confident in your new vehicle. Start your car buying journey today, in-store or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. We are professional grade.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Sam Pineda with Campus News. For the 5th straight year, the University of Nebraska system is a top 100 patent-earning institution. NU system researchers were granted 43 patents in 2021, with UNL researchers named as inventors on 25 of these patents. Husker patents include 3 projects with partners at the University